Okay, I've collected the worms that were in the material in the bait bin and the material I grabbed around the bait bin. And this is going to be quite a surprise to you all. So this is a 2-cup mason jar, I don't know, 1 pint, and it's up to the 3/4 cup line. And this 3/4 cup line is a combination of castings on top and worms on the bottom. Let me back up so you can sort of see it. Don't even have the measurement lines on there. Well, they are, but they're not showing up really good. Anyway, I want you all right now, just in your own head, pick a number. How many worms you think are in here? Not guess how many jelly beans are in this bowl. Not that precise, but do you think there's 50, 100, 1,000, 5,000, 10? So just get a number in your head. Again, this is what it is. Now, when you're making that decision, keep in mind there are a bunch of brand new teeny tiny baby hatchlings. And when I say teeny, I mean I could fit 20 of them on the tip of my finger. So what I'm going to do, I have this to cover to a bucket here, a little container anyway. And I'm going to dump this out. And you're going to be very surprised. I know I was. I'm actually going to put my camera flash on. It may distort it a little bit, but it'll be better than how it's going to look if I don't put it on. Okay. Oh, actually, I'm going to turn the flash off. So here we have worm ball. And this is one solid, massive pile of worms. And I estimated there are over 5,000 little teeny baby newborn worms in here. And this goes all the way down. There's several adults. But if you take a look at this. And this is one little scoop. And some of them, like I said, this right here, this is at least 1,000 worms. Because they're brand new hatchlings. I found about 6 adults that I must have missed. But they just keep going and going and going. I think it's the Energizer Bunny commercial here. Let me get some more. I mean, look at this little chicken nugget on my finger here. That's what I mean by teeny tiny. There's thousands of those, and I mean thousands. So these worms, when the babies that are in there, I thought I was going to be able to bait them and do it a couple times and be done with it. Now that I know the sheer magnitude that I'm dealing with throughout that bin, I mean, look at them. They're balling up within themselves here. And the majority of them are teeny tiny hatchlings. There's such a small amount of castings in this pile. Let me zoom back a little bit. I wish I could line them up. If I could line them up, they'd go around my house several times. Okay, I hear my dogs doing something bad outside on the deck. Look at this, guys. Oh, I need to pause you for 1 minute. My dogs are doing something. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. And I have a worm on the camera side, the screen side of my phone. So this is like, I don't even know how to describe this, but the babies, when I said these worms were breeding like crazy, I knew there was a bunch of cocoons. Now, so what had happened is the bin that these are coming from had at one point contained my African night crawlers. And my African night crawlers needed a bigger container. So I had set up the bigger container, got it all ready to move the African night crawlers, and somewhere in the transition, as I was moving them out, I introduced somehow some of these little guys into the castings, because what I did, the African night crawlers, and there was 173. I started with 60 2 months prior, and there was 173 adults that I hand counted and moved over. The bin was then empty. The castings were spectacular. There is a video on that. And I was messing with the castings and messing with these guys on the same day, apparently, and I must have introduced a cocoon or two or something, because within a couple of weeks I'm seeing Indian blue worms, and I let them go because I had the empty bin. I didn't need it. I had moved out the African night crawlers, so I said, well, it'll just be a second Indian blue bin, and they outgrew their bin, so I moved them into a larger tub, and what was left was the babies, these guys, and the castings that are still in there. And I said, well, I think there's a lot of babies in there, so let me bait them out. And this is, I will say, 1/5 of what is in there. So this is how prolific Indian blues breed. And so I'm just going to go ahead and, I reset the bait cup. I said I was going to do several. I just didn't get an opportunity to do more than that one today. It's been sort of a hectic day for me. Looks like there's one big one in here. Yep. But I am going to add more, but if all this came from one bait cup, it was a total of 34 hours that the bait cup was sitting in the container. Look, when they fall off, they go crazy. These are such spazzy worms. Oh my goodness. Look, it's like a dance party. I don't know these moves. What is this called? The worm? I'll get you back, guys. Don't worry. I didn't collect you all out to let you die on the counter. Hold on, guys. I'm rescuing worms. Worm aside. I don't want worm jerky. I am in the mood for a snack, but worm jerky is not really what I'm in the mood for. Alright, so let me try to... Yes, I'm roughing these guys, roughing them up. Hold on a second. Okay. So here you go. And this is thick. This is not just surface layer. I mean, they go, every inch of this is thick. So I guess it's fair to say I got a whole lot of blue worms. Not complaining about that at all. And I got a whole lot more to bait out of the bin. And the one other thing I want to show you, where did I put it? Here it is. Hold on. All of this, I put a little castings in there, but all of these ball-like structures You could see them bounce. I put a little castings. Anyway, like, I mean, this it's covered in dirt. These are all African nightcrawler cocoons. Now, they're covered in dirt at this point, which is what happens. African nightcrawler cocoons are much bigger than any other worm cocoon, and they're like a perfect triangle or almost a pentagon. What is that? The four sides and the point. I think it's called a pentagon shape. And at first I thought, well, maybe these were apple seeds because I had apple in here at one time. And I squished one and a blob of worms came out. One of them was alive, the others were not. I said, oop, those are not apple seeds. And then I got looking at them closer. I took one and rinsed it underwater. So, and this is just, I would say there's about, I don't know, there's about 20 in here. And that came from just the handful of material that I picked up under the bait cup. When I pulled these guys' bait cup out, let's flip them over and look at them again. When I pulled their bait cup out, I grabbed a bunch of material underneath for those that were coming up. And in fact, I can show you this little baking dish, which is 8 by 8 by, I don't know, 2 inches. This is, oh, I just dropped a worm off my hand in there. No, do not redo that. This is the, darn it. This is what I got out of, after I pulled all these worms out. So in that material, I got that many African nightcrawler cocoons that obviously have not hatched yet. So I'm going to add these to the African nightcrawler bed where they belong. You know, I moved over the adults, as I said, but I didn't pick through to find cocoons. So if there were this many in the few handfuls of material I pulled out from under the bait cup, then that whole bin has a ton. And I'm going to pick them out for sure because those to me are valuable. So, okay, well, I hope you got your baby worm excitement for the night. And if anybody who doesn't have Indian blue worms wants an idea of how they, you know, just their breeding habits, this is it. And this wasn't even their bin. Like I said, I must have been feeding these. I ended up with a couple of baby ones on my hands, like you can see. All you gotta do is touch them, and they're all over you. And they're all over my counter again. And it happened, and that is why now every worm variety is in its own room. Some are actually in the basement, and I wash my hands between touching any bins, unless it's the same species. But if I'm going from one species to the other, I'm not taking that risk anymore. And there are, let me see if I can find one. There are a bunch of cocoons in here with these guys too. Hold on, let me see. I mixed them in here. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to, oh wait, here. See on my finger? So even, and this was laid, this was in the bait bin. This was not underneath the bait bin. So this was laid after a worm went in the bait bin. I mean, look at these little guys. Look at how teeny that one is there on my finger. You can see how easy it would be to introduce them into another bin if they're stuck on your hand. You can't feel these little teeny ones. I mean, they're so small. So, yeah, that's it. Okay, folks. Well, I don't know what you guessed when I said pick a number, but entertain me. Be honest. Come on. I would have got it wrong, too. Leave a comment. What did you think? How many worms did you think there was there? And how many worms do you think this is? I know it's in the thousands because of some of the teeny, tiny, tiny ones. Oh, look, there's a couple cocoons together. When I say teeny, all I have to do is run my hands through and remove it. I mean, look at how teeny. And there are at least 1,000 of these little teeny ones. So, yeah, let me know what you guessed. I would have never guessed it right. I would have guessed many, many multiples less than what is actually here. So, I'm heading down to the basement. After we watch this, we're going to learn this dance moves, guys. It's called the worm. I believe there already is a dance called the worm, but this is the post-COVID version of it. You guys get a little more squirmy. So, all right, everybody memorize this because there's going to be a test. Let's all do the worm. I don't have the rhythm for it yet. But, don't worry. You're okay. You're okay, little worms. All right. It is past midnight here. I really should be tired, but as usual, I never am. So, heading down to the basement where the Indian Blues live. They're not even allowed. They would have to crawl out of the bin, across the cement floor, up the stairs, across the laminate floor, across carpeting, under a door, and into another room to get into any other bin. If they can do that, then they deserve to take it over. If they can do that, they're going to take over the world. Microsoft, move over. Or Amazon, move over. Indian Blues are going to run the world. Night-night, everybody.